All right. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the formerly untitled, now official Esports Show. My name is gootecks, and we got with me to my left, we have all the way from hopefully sunny Southern California, Zorine. Dialing in, as well as on my right, we got Slasher, the world's #1 esports consultant, all the way from New York. Guys, there's a lot of stuff going on, and Evo just happened, and we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of Evo 2019. How are you guys?
Firstly, I just want to say congratulations that you made it official. I'm very happy for the both of you. We can now talk about it officially, and that now you're both you made it a thing. So
Made what a thing.
that we're
Yeah,
all
what
official. That we're
Oh,
all official.
well,
Like
well,
yeah,
Zorine.
this is our new show. Like I'm really happy that we're able to launch this new show right now that has never existed before until right now and was definitely not in anything else previous to this point. And this is going to be our beginning.
You're right. Well, this is episode 01.
Yep.
As you
First ever
guys.
episode of that we've ever been here on the official esports show. And
That's
it really
right.
feels good. It really feels good. We've learned as we've done these shows, the importance of being the singular entity in any field, and as we all know from the trademarks going on, there is only ever one of anything in the world. So there is now only one esports show, and this is it.
This is the official
Hence the name.
esports show. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. We're so official. We're so official it hurts.
I mean, there's no one more when you think about esports than gootecks. Like when you say the word esports, gootecks is by far like the first choice in my head.
Right. Just
mhm.
like when I think about beer and esports, all I can think about is Budweiser. Is the first thing that comes to mind. Budweiser, the official beer of esports, the official esports show with Gutex, Zorine, and Slasher, the official show of esports. It makes perfect sense to me.
Perfect. Cool. So yeah, that's a thing now. Welcome everyone.
Congratulations. Yeah, hashtag we made it. It was amazing.
We have made it. Also, Anheuser-Busch, again, as we mentioned previously, if you would like to come on and sponsor our show, we do need a water sponsor. You're more than welcome to contact any of us after.
That's right. Yeah. How does it feel to be so official, guys?
So good. I only ever want to be in official things, if you know. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad. Can we just get into the topics now, or
Yes,
Sure. Yes.
please. That's a great idea, Zuri.
Yeah. Well, seeing as how we got a new show, yeah, sure. Topics are in order. First, we should probably thank our sponsors, I guess. Although, do we have sponsors? It's a brand new show. I don't know. I guess we'd be off to a pretty good spot, pretty good start if we did. Yeah, thanks to XSplit for powering the show. Thanks to Blue for helping to provide some of this gear. Uh, Click the panel below to save 20% off of your Blue microphones purchases by using coupon code CrossCounter. And yeah, afterwards, the show will be wherever you normally listen to it on iTunes and Spotify and all of these things. Probably going to need a new URL because I don't think anchor.fm/official esports show has been created, but now I've probably already spoiled the whole thing and somebody's going to grab all that stuff immediately. But anyways, yeah.
I also want to thank Twitch chat. Really, I don't believe Twitch chat gets enough love here on Twitch. I really want you guys out there in the chat with your PogChamps. Definitely get your Pog. I mean, really, look, PogChamp is the most used emote on all of Twitch. And if there's one place that it should be here. And I want you to give all of yourself a PogChamp. Everyone, chat, give yourself a round of applause. If you weren't here, we weren't here, and what would we do? No, I'm just fucking kidding you. Fuck you, Twitch chat. You guys fucking suck. I fucking hate you guys. I mean, you guys are actually kind of cool in here, but in general, Twitch chat, you are not living up to expectations. Okay, you gotta be more active, Twitch. You're fucking me up here.
Stop shitting on our chat, Rod.
I love shitting on our chat. Shitting on Twitch chat is cathartic. I think more streamers need to shit on their Twitch chat, and they'd feel better because you out there love us, especially me, and the content is amazing. And no matter how much I shit on you, you're probably going to even want to watch even more. There's like a whole psychology around that. Even back to like Howard Stern and stuff. So
wow, that is fascinating.
Yeah, really.
Lots of insight from the world's #1 esports consultant. Cool. Well, it was a big week in our world. EVO 2019 is in the books, and a lot of good stuff happened. A lot of bad stuff happened. Maybe a lot of ugly things happened as well. I was there. Me and my team had been hustling super hard for weeks, months on end to make a lot of the stuff that we had on our plate happen. It was an adventure. There was ups and downs, all kinds of things that happened. And Zorine, you were there as well.
Yes. Yes, I was. Didn't get to play at Evo, unfortunately, was not competing, but yeah, still attended Evo and saw a lot of people and caught up with a lot of friends. Of course, swung by the cross-counter events, bar fights, and the matchup, both of which were enjoyable, so well done in running them.
Thank you. Me and the team worked without a lot of sleep, without a lot of resources, without a lot of anything except for passion, heart, and drive in order to make all this stuff happen. And I really got to thank my team for coming through in the clutch. I told all of them, and I still maintain that everything that we were doing when it came to this past weekend was super high risk, super low reward, low to medium reward, maybe at best. But at the end of the day, I think that everything turned out better than expected. So I'm really happy I'm really happy with the way that things turned out for the stuff that we were working on, which was quite a lot. I mean, hold on, we have some. Oh, okay. I'm a little low. All right, hold on. All right, hold on. Let me turn. Let me just turn you. Ah. Whoa. All right. Maybe that's a little bit better. Yeah, it was a wild ride, I gotta say. This was Evo number 17 in a row for me, and yeah, I wish.
That's so many Evos.
I know.
That is so many Evos.
I know. It was a lot of Evos.
Do you think there are people that have been there longer than you, right?
There is, I forget what they call it, but there's some sort of very exclusive club that has not a lot of people in it, where all of these people have been to every single Evo since 2002. Unfortunately, I personally am not. I am not in that club because I showed up way later in 20 in 2003. So I'm not a part of that club, but
Oh, you missed it by 1 year?
I know. Um, but yeah, there's people
That's a
out there.
shame. That's a shame.
I know. But that's okay. We can't go back and change the past. All we can do is try to make the future a little bit better.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it was yeah, man, it was a lot of work. I mean, I'm still recovering to this day. Even I don't know what day is it, Wednesday? I don't know. It's been yeah, there's been a lot of yeah, a lot of things that have happened and yeah. Um, yeah, a lot of things that have happened. I'm still super exhausted in case you guys couldn't tell. I'm starting to catch up on sleep now for after, sort of being largely without sleep for days and days and days, weeks and weeks.
Okay,
So,
please give your pog champs. Now we chat. I actually need you to actually help out for once. Please give your life and energy to gootecks right now. He needs
thank you.
some life
Thank
into him
you.
to get him through this episode.
I
He has
know.
got like 1 hour
I know.
sleep in the last 7 days.
I've
He
been
needs
sleeping
all
okay
of your
now.
energy.
Yeah,
All of your
now,
energy.
yeah, now I'm a little bit better because it's been. I mean, we put our heart and soul into everything that we were doing this weekend. Um, I don't want to, again, I put in a lot of work. My team put in a lot of work, and we managed to pull off everything. Not without a hitch. Not certainly there were always things that could have been done better, but I think all things considered, we came through in the clutch when it counted. So
Good
yeah,
job.
yeah. No, thanks. I mean, it was
Yeah,
just
good job, Ryan.
it's not just me. It's mostly mostly the efforts of my team.
Oh no, I
Hmm.
know it's your whole team. I don't actually think it's any of you. I think your whole team just runs everything amazing. You're just there to take the credit.
I
Um,
just gave my team the credit. What more do you want me to
I'm
do?
giving more of that. I'm giving them more of the credit. Okay.
100%. They deserve
100%.
the credit because I am only one person. We
Hmm.
had a team, dozens maybe. I don't know. Um, we had a lot of people involved in all the stuff that we were doing. I mean, this was the first time. This was the first time that we had a booth. Thank you to Evo for letting us have, giving us a space that we could do all kinds of cool things at. This was the first time that we were responsible for the production and streaming of the panels. Thank you to Evo for trusting us with that. We were able to stream as well as record the community panels on days 1 and 2. Those are in the production process and will be put up on, YouTube and Twitch or wherever we need to put it. Um, we did our event, the Link Up at the Link Hotel on Friday. Thanks to the Link staff and Caesars Entertainment for giving us a shot with that. And we did a cosplay contest. We did round 3 of the matchup. All of that.
Which you're going to be talking about later. We're going to get real in depth into the matchup later on.
I don't know if we have time for that, but certainly we can talk about
Oh,
that
yes,
another
we
time.
do. We have enough time. Do not worry, Twitch chat. We're going to know all about who is banging at this Evo. But that's later on in the show.
And yeah, and then Saturday we did bar fights at Esports Arena at the Luxor, which was the official after party of night 2, and that was all kinds. I personally think it was one of the best things that we've ever done ever. Although I will say that it's going to look better in the post-production edit. Um, but, what doesn't look better after a post-produced edit? And then, yeah, we also basically starting Wednesday, we partnered up with the Hawaiian FGC as well as Victrix and Level Up to produce the Sea Salt Suite, which was our after hours suite, which was one of the only places that you would know for sure there were going to be games up until all hours of the night. So yeah, we did that as well. At and so yeah, it was yeah, it was a whirlwind weekend for me and my team, and I'm grateful to my team for helping to put all this stuff together, help execute and perform under super high pressure in a high stakes environment, as well as, hope that what we did on Saturday with bar fights, everything from partnering with Extra Life and St. Rose Dominican to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, as well as, you know, hope, hopefully all of that stuff, um, you know, was hopefully everybody had a good time at our events, and hopefully everybody was happy with our performance. And if not, then sorry, next time we'll do better. Yeah. So, yeah, that was my. It doesn't even feel like a weekend. It feels so much shorter.
Rod, you were not able to make it out to Evo this year, is that correct?
That is correct.
I did my best, though, by the way.
Yes, yes, you did. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it out, but I watched the entire thing from home, and I had a really good time watching all the events. It's actually probably easier still to watch something like this from home than maybe even at it. Though even Sunday, I mean, being in the arena, I'm sure was very cool. Zorine, I heard you maybe you've had a slightly different weekend than Ryan may have had.
Yes, yes. So, just addressing the elephant in the room, as some people may have already seen, I was involved in an incident that happened during the Evo Red Bull after party. I don't want to go into specific detail about it, but I do think it kind of sparked a wider discussion about the safety of people in the FGC, and also raised awareness about things that happen in the FGC or surrounding events that are related to the FGC that people may not have realized or were aware of before that. I do want to say, I don't want to let this one experience sour my opinion of the FGC or even of Evo. I still love fighting games. I still love playing. I still love going to locals and going to events and meeting all these amazing, cool people. So I definitely feel like there is a lot of good in FGC still, and that should not be overshadowed by all the bad things that have happened, but that we shouldn't ignore that these bad things do happen, and actually, they happen quite often, or often enough that people should be aware of them, and that sometimes women don't feel safe in certain settings in FGC. So yeah, I don't know, it's just very difficult to talk about these situations, obviously, that are very sensitive, but also spreading awareness, but also not focusing too much on the bad stuff, right? There's also all this good stuff that happened. I know for a fact that I had friends who were helping walk women back to their hotels when they were really intoxicated or had a little bit too much to drink, things like that. Looking out for each other, that's the biggest message, I think. Yes. That is important to send, that we need to look out for each other. This community is very tight knit. We all seem share the same passion. So just to be aware that this stuff does happen, and that if you have people who come to you who are scared or in situations where they're uncomfortable, just to take that seriously and to help them, put them in a place where they do feel safe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I totally understand you're not wanting to go into too much detail about what happened with you. But what I will say is that, we as a community need to look out for each other. There should not be, um, we should not be creating an environment that's unsafe for anybody. And a lot of the stuff that I read about on Monday, both about you, Zorine, and some of the other stuff that happened on Sunday, is just completely, it's just completely unacceptable. I shouldn't, it, it, it should go without saying that, you know, not just people within this community, but just, people as a whole. It should go without saying that you should not be, um, you should not be actively going out and touching people and grabbing people without their consent in a public space. Um, you should not be putting roofies in people's drinks. Like we shouldn't have to say that, but you know, it's it's not right, and we need to look out for each other. There were many situations that I experienced this weekend where I I had to make sure I felt the need to keep an eye out on people that I was with to make sure that they were okay, that they wouldn't, be, I don't know, made into like a victim. Um, and that's not something that's FGC specific in my mind. That's just something that have to, you know, we have to look out for each other. I'm not even going to say it's like a Vegas thing. It's really just sort of like I don't know, like I don't know if it's an after party situation. I don't know. All I know is that like these situations can be very dangerous, and it's not super specific to this community, because if it was you and like half a dozen of your friends in Vegas or some other place where there are, where there's like nightlife and alcohol and whatnot, like of course, you're always going to run into these dangers. But now these things have, come up recently, so I feel like it's important to address. And
Right.
again, like we don't want to focus all on the negative. We just, I personally just want to say, like we we have to look out for each other. I mean, I did my best to look out for the people that I was with. Um, and I'm not saying that other people didn't do that. I'm just saying that we all need to do that um, in these types of environments.
Yeah, and like I think the other thing is like situations like these like they hit closer to home because you feel like you're part of a community and like everyone there is like there to share that same passion. So the fact that something like that can happen within what is seen as supposed to be a community event, um, it just hits a little bit harder. So definitely agreed about like looking out for each other and keeping an eye out for like your friends or even just like people that you've met who like need help or something.
Yeah, I mean, uh, um, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I believe that. So, yeah, they're just to give a little bit more information. I mean, I saw personally there were allegations of people being roofied, and then one guy gave an account of him being roofied. It was a drink attended for a female friend of his, and then I saw another account of a girl walking back someone, as you were mentioning, Zorine, and she got harassed while walking her friend back, ironically and terribly, because of course that happens. Um, this is just, probably going to be an increasing problem for, I mean, you have the same type of thing where at like Comic Con now, or at the big cosplay events, they have like gigantic signs that they have to put up in the hall of the conference to tell people not to touch the cosplayers. Have you seen this?
Yeah,
No, I've never been to.
yeah, cosplay
Cosplay is
cosplay is not
consent.
cosplay is not consent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cosplay is not
And
consent.
yeah,
I've seen
I've
huge,
seen it.
huge fucking things at Comic Con to tell
I've
people not to do this, and you would think, like, who the fuck is doing this in the first place that they have to make this? But it's happening so often that conferences have to do this. And yeah, they're getting touched like more often because they're in cosplay, which is terrible to think about. But then, women in general are always, this is happening to them. So I feel like this is also going to be an increasing problem at gaming events and gaming conferences and anime conferences and entertainment, all these cons. Of course, it can happen in any place with a ton of people, but there is some there's a larger issue, of course, I think, definitely to be had about sexism, and overall misogyny, probably, and harassment in like the entertainment world for sure, and that it definitely applies to video games and esports and all that. So I do think we just have to just recognize that going forward. Are we going to be able to make like guys not do this? I mean, fuck. One, men are stupid to begin with, but then there's just so many of them that the amount of pieces of shit there are, and percentage is probably not very high, but there's not really like a foolproof solution to doing this other than like good security and just trying to weed people out that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was like a discussion. People were talking about like, oh, there shouldn't be after parties anyway, or like cancel after parties. And I don't really think that's a solution, to be honest. And hell, I still like after parties. I like having a good time, dancing and hanging out with friends and talking to people. So, I don't think, canceling after parties is necessarily the solution here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, um, as somebody who's run a few after parties in his day, I mean, um, I don't obviously I don't think that's the solution. I'm not saying that I do have the solution,
Mm.
but at the same time, um, that's why I'm saying that we should look out for each other. I'm a big proponent of personal responsibility and personal freedom. And if there's a need to have after parties at any, now, I'm not even just talking about Evo, but what are you gonna do? You want to cancel after parties at all different events? Well, I mean, there's not going to be that's not something that I'm going to support because that seems like it just seems a bit extreme. Um, it's so I thought about, I thought about what we could do um, to help mitigate these issues for our events. Only just speaking, just thinking about it over the past couple of days. And one of the things that I've seen done rarely, but I've seen it. There's this place in downtown Vegas. I forget the name, but it's a bar in downtown Vegas. But in order to get in, they take a photo of you on the webcam and scan your ID. And I don't think that they do that because they they want everybody's. I don't think they're building a collection. I think it's really just sort of like a preventative security measure, to sort of let people know that you better act you better act appropriately inside these walls because we have your photo and your ID. Um, so maybe that's something that we, as cross counter, maybe that's something that we need to do as well because, um, That's not something. That type of behavior is unacceptable, and I don't want that at our events. But at the same time, just because a few people, just because these things happen, doesn't mean that like the whole thing needs to be shut down. In my opinion. So I just think that little things can be done to help try to prevent these types of issues from happening. I mean, everything
Hmm.
that happened at the thing on Sunday, um, it's impossible to say what would have happened if different factors would have been at play. If everybody had to had their picture taken and their photo and their ID scanned, would that have happened? I don't know, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to have all of that. So it's just that's why again I think it's important to just stress like we need to all look out for each other.
Agreed. Well said.
Yeah. All right. What else do we have?
So
Anything else on that?
No, I think with that we can we can look at some of the other things that happened at Evo, because there was a lot of other things.
All right. Sure. All right. So moving on, there was other stuff. Yeah. Moving on, there was other stuff that happened, like.
I mean, there are so many different things happen in Evo, and me and Mr. PogChamp here were arguing even over the things that we would talk about um, on tonight's show.
True.
And I have a list of things that I think are super important that I want to bring up. But what
Well,
was super
I'm
important
looking
to
at
you this weekend? Other than
to
the things
me.
that you ran, which are obviously the most important things that happen. I get that part. Yeah, not
What were the
including
things that
things.
happened at Evo for me that we were not directly related or responsible for?
Yeah. I know this is a hard
Uh,
one because you're the fucking shit, Mr. Gootecks, and you had your hand in so much that I know it's really hard to like try to figure out which thing didn't you do. It's like, huh, I did that, and that, but did I do everything?
I feel like we did a lot. But we did a tiny percentage or fraction of like the overall stuff that happened. So I know that there was a lot of great things that happened this weekend that we had nothing to do with. I would
I
say
I have one in my head. I think there is the lead story. I know the top story for me, but I won't.
I don't know the top story for anybody else, but I was super stoked to see Kayane make top 8 in Soul Calibur.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't get a chance. I didn't see any of that personally myself, but I heard that it happened, and I was like, "Yeah, let's go, Kayane. You go." Um,
Yeah, I mean, she was the first ever female player to make top 8 in Soul Calibur at Evo.
yeah.
One of the very few women to make top 8 like in any of the major games ever played at Evo, and it shows that like not the bigger story of that, like for most mainstream media outlets and like gaming outlets, it would be like woman makes top 8, hooray for competitive gaming or whatever. But the thing for me is like Kayane is still playing and actually
Yeah.
still in top 8. It's like she's been competing for so long and was able to prove herself again in the new Soul Calibur. Um, I think like that's the much harder part of her journey in doing this. I don't know if the game suits her well. I haven't like spoken to her. If there are characters, if her characters in the game, I don't fucking know. I don't know if any of that shit is part of it. But definitely awesome for her. I don't believe she's ever made it top 8 at Evo. For her, I think it's also her first top 8. So it was very emotional, like all around.
Yeah.
Now I gotta fact check us.
I'm pretty sure. I think she said something on Twitter about it being her first top 8 as well, because she made some sort of post about it, acknowledging it. So I mean, might want to check that. But
she's playing competitively.
She's been playing for like more than 10 years, right?
Yeah,
like
she's
it's
definitely been around.
I'm pretty sure she's been playing competitively since she was 12. So I think it's safe to say it's a little bit longer than that. I think.
When did Soul Calibur 1 come out? How old is Soul Calibur? It's really fucking old.
Soul Calibur Soul Calibur didn't just show up, that's for sure. Huh. Ah, right. That's a reminder as well. She was the She also won okay. I'm just reading the Wikipedia entry now.
PogChamp is learning to read, okay, chat? Let's all learn to read with PogChamp. Get your PogChamps for reading.
I know.
PogChamps in chat for using your brain and your eyes.
Hey, I know. In 2012, Kayane entered.
Come together.
Yeah, there we go. In 2012, Kayane entered Guinness World Records in the category's first female Super Street Fighter 4 World Champion, because that was the year that she won the women's tournament, the women's Super Street Fighter 4 tournament. But yeah, anyways, that was awesome.
I do have to say that is a definite one of the best stories to come out of this Evo too. Along with Soul Calibur looking good. It was a fun game to watch. Yeah. Doing well. For me though, and then Zorine, you got to pick. Hopefully, we'll each have 3 different answers. That would make the show really good if we all 3 different answers, right, Zorine? So for me, it's definitely Arslan being the best Tekken player in the world. I mean, there's no way that, maybe based on the tournaments leading up to Evo, he could have been definitely the favorite, but I still think if there was betting put on for Evo, and I don't mean all the betting that you guys do literally at Evo, I meant like, if there was like online betting, I'm still sure the Koreans probably would have been the favorite to win the whole thing. And so for him to come in and do what he has in the last 2 tournaments in Asia and then come over to Evo, I think it's his first time in America. I actually don't. I believe it's one of his first times, maybe not the very first, but definitely first time at Evo. He's never been to Evo before.
Yeah.
And him to come in and win the whole fucking thing from winners and just kind of like destroy everyone again, and to win it for Pakistan, which really is not like a country on the map for esports or competitive gaming at all. I mean, you think especially the Tekken scene, it goes like Korea 1, Japan 2, NA 3, and those are all pretty close. And then Europe is right there, and they have Tekken players. Pakistan is not traditionally a place you think of, but from seeing his story, you learn that Pakistan is that's like one of the main games in Pakistan that everybody plays is Tekken. And you can have a region in esports and competitive gaming. There are actually a lot of these regions. I think Mexico and KOF is another example. If you're come from a region or country that played the original game in a series and they only kept playing that game for like 10 or 15, 20 years, like Korea and a Brood War, and then a new version of that game comes out and it becomes a big esports title, then everybody that kept playing that one fucking game for 10 or 15 years is a fucking god at the new cool game, and then like they have a chance to to win, and I kind of feel like that was like an opportunity for Arslan. He's been playing Tekken for so long, he's been so good, and now the Tekken 6 is like here, and Tekken is huge as like a game, right? Like Tekken is probably the king of the FGC right now. This is his time to shine, and he could not have done a better job.
Well put, and it's Tekken 7, by the way. But it kind of makes you wonder how many other countries out there are really, really good at a specific fighting game, but they just don't have the players who are able to travel internationally, get on the global stage, have showings at tournaments. And the fact that someone actually also even told me that Arslan Ash is he's good in the Pakistani community, but he's not the best. So it makes me feel like there's other killers out there that that we don't even know about, right? And they just don't have a chance to travel and come kick everyone's ass.
If that's true, that is the craziest part, because if he's not the best player and he literally just won Evo and won a bunch of these championships, and I'm pretty sure he's regarded as the best Tekken player in the world right now, then youth would think there's some hidden fucking place over there in Pakistan. Yeah, housing Tekken players just playing somewhere, and no one fucking knows, because everyone is always so laser focused on Korea and Japan if you want to go practice fighting games over in Asia, or here in America and California or whatever. Then no one's thinking about this stuff. So I definitely think this is one of those examples.
It's like an anime, right? The heroes fight this crazy monster. It was so strong, and the monster gets defeated and sent back, and then the plot is oh, that was just the foot soldier. You're
Yeah.
damn.
No, I mean it's always been that way when it comes to arcade fighting games. There have always been the players who are able to travel and make it out for tournaments, and then there's always been people that you only hear about as actually being better than all of those guys, but for whatever reason those guys don't travel, or those guys don't go to tournaments. So it's not, I'm assuming they have arcades in Pakistan, and that's why Arslan is, part of one of the reasons why he's so good. But it's, it's always been that way across all of the different games, because being able to travel and just being really, 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 really strong are two different things.
I think the tipping point here is that, okay, so because he's so good and there are other players that are like this that are so good, they must have been playing Tekken for a long time in previous Tekken series. I just think it's because Tekken 7 is so big as a general title, and that a lot of advancements have probably come for the Pakistani scene in terms of esports in general has come a long way in competitive gaming and maybe internet stuff, and that's probably allowed players to now try to go play internationally where they probably weren't able to as much before. I'm sure esports going mainstream and making this all a more realistic thing was kind of what helped him make this happen.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to justify some of those travel expenses now, because it's a lot easier to see what the total potential is if you are the best or one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if KOF was a huge game, right? I think that now we would see and let's say KOF was a huge mainstream game with a ton of money, I do think we would see a ton more Mexican players than we used to. Instead of it just being all of China, which is their main game too, and Korea and Japan and international, that was Mexico's home, and they didn't go international. They only came to Evo, really. All the KOF Mexican players really only went to Evo. They didn't travel internationally as much. I think they'd go a lot more because it's probably easier to compete and stuff. So I think esports being bigger has made it more accessible to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the other announcement, right? Didn't they do?
Yes, SNK announced a new KOF game. Yeah. They didn't reveal any information for it. They just showed the title.
Yeah, so KOF 15. I used to call KOF the soccer of the FGC because it was basically played everywhere except for America. And Now, we could easily see that situation because I think if I recall correctly, maybe it's not total viewership records, but there was one year that KOF had the highest number of viewers for any Evo game that year. I don't recall what game that was, but it seems pretty clear to me that KOF could be that game once whatever 15 comes out because it is played in so many different countries. Um, yeah.
It really is played in so many different countries, and part of the main reason is that for a long time, China, that was their main fighting game. They chose KOF over Tekken and Street Fighter early on. So you had one major region in Asia which played KOF over the big games, and then you had a region like Mexico, which you don't traditionally think about in terms of competitive gaming. The two biggest games in Mexico, from my understanding, are KOF and Gears of War. Has always been huge in Mexico too, and they have, different regions have different games, so it allowed like all the normal traditional FGC regions of Korea, Japan, America, and parts of Europe to be added on with China and Mexico, and you don't really get that for other
Well,
games.
you say choice, Rod, as though each player in each of these countries were sort of handed each of these different games on a silver platter, and they were like, nah, I'll take KOF. Uh, the part I think you're glossing over, either on purpose or just because you don't know, is that part of the reason why KOF is so big in all these other countries isn't necessarily because they chose it in the same way that you might choose a candidate on a ballot. Um, Part of the reason why KOF is so big in other countries is an economic reason because these games have been around for so long, but it's not. But the other games, like let's say the Capcom games, were significantly more expensive in the arcade days. So if you are from a country outside of the first world, it would be more common to see SNK games and King of Fighters than it would be to see, like whatever the latest, greatest Capcom um, fighting game title was. So this is just my theory. I think that's why KOF is so popular in these other regions.
I mean, it's got to be a combination of both things, right? Like, because of what you were saying, it was available in these other regions due to economic reasons, and those were the games in the arcades, not Street Fighter in these other regions. But
Yeah.
then fighting games got bigger and video games got bigger, and then they became the main because they were already the main game in those regions. All of the legendary players played those games.
Correct.
Everyone then started going. Even if you could play Street Fighter, KOF became
Yes.
still was their main shit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So yeah, Arslan, fucking
Yeah.
amazing. The other big part of this is that Tekken hit 250,000 viewers at peak for Evo 2019, which was really
Amazing.
sick.
Yeah.
And honestly, from everything that happened, Tekken, kind of deserved its more mainstream spot over Street Fighter. I would definitely say that if we're not including Smash in the FGC right now, and we're also excluding esports in the FGC, we're playing proper discussion here, Mr. Gootecks, that Tekken is the current king of the FGC. Tekken is the leader right now, and I would think that even Dragon Ball is fighting for second at this point. But Tekken really stole the show here at Evo. Great viewership, great matches. Could not have gone better for Tekken, not including something that may have been done by the people running the event, which could have been very fucking stupid if you had a brain that you'd be able to figure out would be a bad idea. But, that probably wouldn't have happened because that just wouldn't do that. which I think we might want to save for
So,
later. I don't know if we're not.
oh, we don't want to talk
Oh
about it now?
no. We could.
Okay, we can
Yeah,
talk
we
about
should.
that in a
We have
second,
Okay.
but maybe there was, one moment one more moment Zorine had in mind.
I mean, I obviously am a Tekken player and I love Tekken,
should
so
have,
the
I
Arsenal.
should have, right when I answered, I realized I took your answer.
No, that's okay. It's your honest answer. But the
Yeah.
other good storyline I think that's worth mentioning is Bonchan. Bonchan finally, becoming a champion at Evo. Like, I think that was a very touching moment. If you didn't cry, then you don't have a heart. I'm just kidding. But like Bonchan again been competing for so long. He's such like a household name in Street Fighter, and the fact that he was able to clutch out the win in an amazing, amazing final. I don't think anybody kind of like saw this, coming. Um, the fact that he was able to clutch it out and finally like that storyline there that he won, I think was very amazing and good to see him finally lift the trophy as well. So it's always nice to see like an old school player like finally, achieve their dream of winning Evo. I think that's always like a touching, very touching moment.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I heard a story during Evo that Daigo quit fighting games for a bit and to go play mahjong, and he met Bonchan
Oh my
playing
God.
mahjong, and then he brought it. Is this like a total? Am I a fucking idiot?
Well,
Or is
you're
this
not
a real
you're not
This is
an
an
story?
urban legend.
you're not an
It's an urban
idiot.
legend.
I mean,
Okay, I'm
you
an
may
idiot.
or may
Oh my
not be an
God.
idiot, but it's got nothing to
All
do
right.
with this. I will
Well,
say that if you read Daigo's book, The Will to Keep Winning, he talks about this story specifically in it, and it is true. For a while, Daigo took a break, went to go play mahjong, and discovered Bonchan while playing
Oh my
mahjong,
god.
and
okay,
essentially
okay.
trained
That's right.
him.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is right. All
It's
right,
not
so
an
I'm not
urban.
in fucking place. What are you telling me then? You're
I'm
confusing
just
the
saying
shit
you
out of
should.
me.
I'm
You
just
made it
saying.
feel like everything I was saying was wrong, and it's actually totally right.
No, it is totally
Just
right.
truthful.
It is
Are
totally
you fucking
right.
kidding me? Are you fucking
I'm
kidding me
just
then?
saying, like,
You're-
oh, I'm just saying you should just read Daigo's book because he talks about it.
Well, you were selling me his fucking book. All right, get the fuck out of here. As I was explaining this goddamn story, he meets Banchan playing mahjong, and then brings him back to play fighting games and trains him, and now he's Evo champion, and that shit is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually that's like movie line, like a movie plot line, right? Like, holy crap, that's an amazing storyline.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Um, I think those are sorry, those are three super solid moments from Evo.
I mean, there's like 8 or 9. We're gonna go through all of them. I will mention a few more things since we're like on Street Fighter. Um, it did hit 200K viewers in the end. I think Street Fighter should be pretty happy. I think the Capcom Street Fighter community should be honestly pretty happy with that. Considering the state of Street Fighter, considering the entire announcement for the new characters got leaked ahead of time and deflated all the hype around what happened. The finals always really deliver at Evo. Evo Street Fighter Top 8 and especially Grand Finals has literally almost delivered every single year. It's like never not been a great match no matter what. And I think that really helped Street Fighter, even though Top 8 this year, I think was the most not random, maybe random. Nobody literally, if you had to guess 8 people, they had like that March Madness shit that they do for for basketball where people guess and you get $1 million if anyone gets it right, and literally no one gets it right. No one would ever in their fucking life guess the 8 people that were in top 8 for Street Fighter for this year. And I think maybe, I don't know if that's good or bad for the game. I honestly don't know if it's new blood or the game is still kind of not where it should be. But I think overall people should be pretty happy with how things went for Street Fighter as a whole. What do you think, Ryan?
Well, I think that this was part of the way that Street Fighter V was designed, I guess. I mean, it was designed. It was. I don't know. I mean, it's I personally see the appeal from a big picture perspective of, having not the same people winning all the time. I'll be honest, I did not see a single game of Street Fighter 5 the entire weekend, so I don't know like what was like where the crazy moments were. History tells me that a lot of those crazy moments happened, between top 16 and top 8 to sort of determine who makes it in. Um, but yeah, I mean, to have a bunch of new faces in top 8 to me doesn't sound like a bad thing. Um, but that's just me. I mean, is that the fault of the game? Is that the players? The truth lies somewhere in the middle. Um, and I think it's healthy to have different people, unexpected new faces in top 8, even though I would argue that Bonchan is not an unexpected new face, He's not.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, no. I mean, he was not. He was not.
yeah. Um, so I think that's good for the game. I
But
think
like didn't Punk get eliminated off stream like early?
I don't know.
I
I don't
believe, and
know.
I believe we were talking like weeks ago before on this well, not this show because this is a new show, obviously. It's the first time we've ever done this show, but I believe on that other show we were doing, we all kind of agreed that this is like Punk's year and this is going to be
Yeah.
like his time to win. And I think I don't even know where he placed, but I don't believe it was even close.
He did get eliminated off stream.
Yeah. And
I
like
can't remember.
that's Evo. Like that is what Evo is meant to be. Anything can happen and champions can lose that way. But I don't know if it feels, at least on the American side, another year, another no title for America in Street Fighter.
Hmm.
It's never gonna come, by
Even
the way.
in Tekken,
Yeah. Even
Anakin
in
made top
Tekken-
3. Like he was, so close.
The only championship that America won the whole weekend was fucking anime.
Which is so crazy.
Anime game. I mean, good shit, American weebs. You really have fucking proved me wrong. Every time I see an anime profile,
Wait, sorry, who won?
didn't they win? What was it? Black Blue?
All right. Okay. Cool.
I believe, right?
Oh wait, let me pull up Event Hubs. Where are you?
Yeah, but like good shit, weebs. You fucking have done it.
Where are the
American weebs.
weebs? More power to the
American
weebs.
weebs are better than even American fighting game players. That is what I have learned from Evo. You can step up harder.
X Neverender X
Really?
says no. Sonic
Oh, wait.
Fox won
Sonic
Mortal
Fox
Kombat.
won Mortal Kombat, yeah. So it wasn't even the weebs.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. It's
What do you
like
mean that
saying,
doesn't count? What do you mean that doesn't count? Of course it
You know why?
counts.
Totally counts.
No. The number one world's esports consultant is going to tell you why. It's like saying that that's not true. Optic or FaZe or 100 Thieves won Call of Duty championships. And the reason is, no shit. The game is 99% played in America, and there's a few players around the world. A true international game like Tekken or like Street Fighter, when all the regions play and it's not dominated and only played by Americans, Americans always lose. Americans could only win the game that only Americans play because that's how they've been taught to win things. If there's no international competition, if they don't have to do it the fucking hard way, then they'll win a championship. So we're all the legendary Japanese NRS players and Korean NRS players. Oh, they don't fucking exist. Oh, no wonder the American players win Mortal Kombat NRS games all the time, because the best fighting game players in the world don't play that fucking game. It was the same reason that American players were the best at Marvel because Japan never fucking played Marvel, and I bet you if they did from early on, they would have shit on all the fucking American players. I love you, Sanford. I love you guys. You guys are fucking great and all. And Justin, you're fucking wonderful. But I bet you if they did, they probably would have won. But they never played that game. They never practiced it. It was never part of the games that they played there. I mean, really compared to like the other games. So that's why Sonic Fox won Mortal Kombat, and that's great. But I'm talking about a championship and a real international game. Even the anime win, I think, is pretty impressive because like Japan is the best. I'm pretty sure at BlazBlue, so that is actually pretty impressive. Good shit anime, good shit fucking weebs. Get shit on American FGC. Once again.
Wait, okay. Just to play devil's advocate for a second, who won? What was the top 8 breakdown of Smash?
Oh, Smash.
Hmm.
Hmm.
All right, it's okay. It's okay, world's #1 esports consultant. I will do the research for you. Don't you worry.
Well, fortunately for you, Ryan, that even though Smash, of course, was created in Japan and is a Japanese game, fortunately for you, the majority of the competitive player base is also in America and has been sprinkled around Europe for a good amount of time, as we see Sweden had a good amount in Melee. And yeah, now there's more Japanese players playing Ultimate than there were before. But as fortunately, the odds are still much more favored in Americans in terms of the amount of total players, and that is why it is much easier for America to do well at Smash Ultimate and Melee for the most part.
Right. So looking at the Event Hub's Evo results, I see
They don't list the country though. They just list the character. So that might make it
MK Leo, TSM Tweak.
Hey, do you know where MK Leo? Do you know where MK Leo is from, by the way? The champion of the whole tournament. I'm just curious.
Don't think he's from Japan.
No, but he's not from Japan. That is true. But can you have a second guess on maybe what country the champion of Smash was this year, even with all of the large amount of total American players in the tournament? I'm just any.
I don't know. I don't know. You tell me.
Can you guess where he's not from?
Well, I'm guessing he's not from America.
Oh, you know what? Shit, I never would have fucking thought you would have got that. But no, the Smash Ultimate winner is not from America, even though they had the best chance of winning because of percentages, which is shocking, isn't it? Yeah, it's all about math, Ryan. Come on. It's all about data and heart. I mean, there's a little bit of heart in there, but it's all about data. It's all about frames, right?
Yeah, the frames.
Yeah.
The numbers.
Come on, bro. Come on.
But in all seriousness, good shit to the American player who won BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. That's pretty damn impressive, actually.
Yeah, that really is. That really is.
It's actually very, very impressive.
That fucking guy should get all of the body pillows he wants to. Okay? They should make a body pillow specifically for him from Japan, like a unique one with whatever he wants on it, whoever he wants on it. Okay, I really feel like we should be rewarding.
Shinku was his name. GRV Shinku.
Yeah, players in America with things like that.
This is a fascinating discussion, and I feel like, yeah, this is fascinating. I am riveted by your super well-informed perspective on this. For the record, everybody who's not Slasher's not on this show because I value his perspective when it comes to the competitive side of fighting games. I don't know about the other esports titles, but that's not why he's on this show. Just in case you wondered, it's not because of that. Anyways,
I see what you're saying. I see the yikes in chat. I see you, and it doesn't. It's fine with me. I can deal with it. I mean, I am right, and everyone is wrong here, and chat will have to get used to that over time, just like you two on the show also do. So that part is okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I think those are three super solid moments, and also I think those were some very insightful comments and observations from the world's #1 esports consultant. Great.
Thank you.
No problem.
So, can we talk about this this little Evo joke moment that made the rounds online, various gaming websites?
Yes, tell us about it.
So I was in the arena when it happened. Apparently this did not make it to the stream, but during the Tekken Top 8, right after Anakin played, right before the grand final, I believe, Evo decided to, so it was like the gameplay was there, the players just finished. Evo decided to put on a screen, and like it flashed on, and it was the codec screen from Metal Gear Solid. And Snake was there. He appears and he says, I think he says like, that was some good ass Tekken. And then the screen cuts out. Like we hear the codec call, before all this happens, that happens. Screen cuts out and goes back to the floor where Rip and Tasty Steve were like supposed to be commentating, and they were just like shocked. They were like, what was that? The whole crowd was like, there was like murmurs in the crowd. No one knew what was happening. We all thought like it was a teaser for Snake coming to Tekken, right? Like that is the immediate first obvious reaction, because anything can happen at this point when it comes to Tekken. We have Negan from The Walking Dead. We have, various other characters from other IPs. Of course, like it's open-ended, right? So, but then it turns out, it is later revealed that this was just an in-joke made by the Evo production staff without the permission of Bandai Namco, without the permission of Konami, apparently, and without the permission of David Hayter, the voice actor who voiced the original Snake in the first series of Metal Gear Solid games. So I would like to know both your thoughts on it. I personally think that it was not the best move to make. It definitely pissed off a lot of loyal fans to Tekken, to Metal Gear. Definitely pissed off the publishers, which is, I feel like, something you shouldn't be doing if you're trying to run an event with their IP. But hey, some people also were like, oh, damn, that was a good joke. Haha.
What do you mean some people? Those people don't exist, okay? If those people are alive out there, I haven't seen them, or they should go back in their hole, and they probably shouldn't be talking anymore. How fucking stupid could Evo be? This is a rhetorical question. As someone who knows Mr. Wizard very well, I mean, that could be endless limits of how fucking dumb of a thing could you do. This definitely ranks up there as really fucking stupid, because they were able to simultaneously piss off the entire community, the Tekken community specifically, people in the audience that were watching, the developer, the main voice actor, and the lead designer on the game, Harada, who is like their boy. And they were able to do that all at the same time, and no one thought it was fucking funny. Okay, Zorine? Those people that you saw don't exist. So they were able to fail at everything at once, and I think that's spectacular. In the words of Mr. Joey, that was, that was, what is it? When
didn't align with the core values?
Yes, core value. Yes. Thank you, Zorine. Thank you, Zorine. That moment did not align well with Evo's core values.
I just can't believe that like no one was like, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't do this. Like no one on the crew, and like to be fair, it didn't make it onto the stream. I feel like if it made it onto the stream, holy cow, that would have blown the hell up. It was only played to the arena. It was an in-joke in the arena. The stream just saw Tasty Steve and Rip's reaction. They heard the codec call because it came in through like the commentator mics, I think, and then the Tasty Steve was on the floor, like in shock, and no one like on the stream knew what was happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never played Metal Gear. I don't play Tekken, so I don't even think I would have gotten the joke. It sounds like one of those things that started as it must have been some sort of like in-house production joke that just sort of escalated and grew and grew and grew, and then yeah, and then they put it out there, and it was not well received. I don't think anybody meant any harm by it, but I
Mm.
can also see why people are mad. Yeah.
How do you not at least tell like Namco or like the casters or fucking anything that would have made sense to like make it a joke to like the people in the arena? Okay, fine. Like as a coordinated effort, okay, haha. But like how do you just decide to do that wouldn't come off on everyone goes to the arena on Evo even more to watch the tournament because they know it's like announcement day and then everyone's gonna announce their shit. It's like the whole fucking point of Evo Day is to announce all of the shit on the day. It's just kind of unbelievable, but fantastic. I love it. Keep it going, Mr. Wizard. Great job. Great job. Please continue doing stuff like that. It's good. We have apparently we have a whole video later on. I guess is our blow up of the week. Yeah,
okay.
we got a whole nother fucking clip, Mr. Wizard. So he's gonna keep this is a man that keeps on giving.
Okay.
Just keeps on giving.
Well, David Hayter, the voice of Snake, had a tweet, 12,000 retweets.
Oh shit.
Evo, you also failed to consult me or Konami. Please do not use my voice to promote other games. Ever. Signed, David Hayter. To which, I mean, which was a reply to Evo, which said, just to clear things up, the Snake cameo video that we showed during Tekken Finals was our idea of a little joke. It was not intended to imply a character reveal and was done on our own without consulting Bandai Namco. Sorry for any confusion. I think that now the best thing that can come from this is if somehow Snake is to end up someday, somehow in Tekken. Clearly, this is something that I think people would be into. And so, oftentimes life is about turning lemons into lemonade. And this would be a great, who knows, maybe this was, maybe it's part of the reason why everybody was so mad is because maybe this is something that was already in the works. Ooh.
As thank you, Mr. 9/11 was an inside job.
Oh god.
Of course you would say this shit.
Maybe it was something that was already in the works. I mean, I'd be mad too.
Or
no.
maybe they just killed any possibility of Snake coming to Evo because a whole lot of people are pissed off about it now.
No, honestly, Ryan would be right because Harada already made a statement saying that now because of this happened, he's gonna actually go like try to have a talk about Snake. He wrote a bunch of tweets.
You see?
Wait, did he really? That's awesome.
Yeah, he did. He said his boss is going to be very mad at him when he goes back to Japan, but that he's going to now try to like talk to them, Konami, about getting Snake in. He kind of seemed pissed off in his writing it, and then he kind of seemed like it was a tease. So you know what? Maybe Ryan's conspiracy fucking shit is always. I should just stop questioning.
I'm just saying, if it happens at any point in the future, everybody will look back at this moment, and it's kind of like when EGM pulled the gaming's greatest April Fool's joke by saying that Shenlong was a secret character that you could unlock in Street Fighter 2, and then a decade and a half later or whatever, Gouken is added to the Street Fighter 4 roster. I mean, stranger things have happened. It's 2019. I'm sure everybody on the Konami and the Bandai Namco side and David Hayter, I'm sure everybody is furious out of their minds. But this, this is an indicator of one thing, that Snake would be a welcome addition to the Tekken cast, and he's already in Smash, so it's not like it's never been done before. But I'm sure, and I understand why people are mad. I would be mad if I were. Yeah, I guess I would be
No,
mad.
people are mad because of how likely it is for him to be in Tekken. Because Tekken is bringing in like Negan and who's the other?
I mean, there's like random like Final Fantasy. Noctis is in there.
Yeah.
Geese from King of Fighters.
So if there was any game to make Snake happen, it probably would be Tekken. So I
Well,
think that's why
first it
people
was
were
Smash.
pissed off.
First it was Smash. Now maybe it could be Tekken. I mean, I don't know. It's 2019. Put your characters in the fighting games that people want to see them in. Like, oh wow, that's so crazy. Like, oh, what a concept. But what do I know? You know, it's like you just got to do what's best for business. And clearly, this is something that people would warmly receive. All right, moving on.
No, we can't. Sorry, we got a few more topics. Actually, there was even one that actually was probably more applicable to the first conversation that we had. And I didn't even really think about it until Ryan mentioned something that was totally unrelated, but it did make me think about it. So, Samurai Showdown. This is Samurai Showdown's first appearance at Evo. It went really well. I think, tournament was good. A lot of entrants in the game. Of course, the biggest story is that Infiltration won Samurai Showdown and his return to Evo. And along with his return to Evo, Evo made a celebratory tweet of him winning Samurai Showdown about his return to Evo and how his glorious return to Evo and him winning the championship. I made even a response to that tweet asking Evo, "Hey, what was he returning from?" ? Could you let me know? Just trying to find out. And so I just kind of want to hear what you think, Zorine. Actually, considering we had a whole discussion earlier about like this issue, and it's been kind of hard to find a definitive account in all ways about what happened to Infiltration and the incident up until now. But I want to hear what your thoughts are on him being there, him competing. Do you find an issue with it? Do you have an issue with it? Do you have an issue with Evo's tweet? Yeah.
I definitely feel like the tweet could have been worded much, much better. Triumphant return has implications, and it's just really awkward. Like, of all the things they could have said, like, really, like, you had to put it that way. So that was definitely, I think, very not handled in an appropriate way. As for him competing at Evo, I haven't followed the case very closely, I will admit. I'm just hearing the results of what happened, and I haven't read through the paperwork, so I feel like I can't fairly make a call on whether or not he should be allowed to compete at the event or even be at the event. But I will say it does make me uncomfortable that he is there. Like, I personally would feel uncomfortable for him to be around. But yeah, I mean, the tweet itself that Evo made in reaction to his winning the tournament, definitely should not have been.
Now
that
that
way.
is a fucking yikes. Okay, chat. Don't give me a yikes. That's a goddamn yikes, and it does. It does feel kind of like in line with some stupid shit that Evo does in this way. Yeah, that was a big not good moment from them. Ryan, you have any thoughts here on that, or Samurai Showdown in general, or Zorine? The game itself too.
I'm not super well versed in all of the case and the documentation and all of that stuff. So I don't I don't I don't have an opinion because I'm not super well informed. Um, I agree with Zorine. Maybe that could have been worded differently.
Oh, it definitely could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely should have. Not could have. That should not have gone out.
Yeah.
So,
it's I mean, I guess it's tricky because if you allow him to compete, then it then you have to accept that there's a possibility that he might win. And if he does win, then what is the approach? I mean, yeah. So, I mean, it's tricky. I don't know the answer. So, I yeah, I don't know the answer.
yeah, well,
But at the same time, I also think that it's a it's a tweet that was probably tweeted shortly after he won. I mean,
yes, it was.
Should it have been worded differently? Sure. Um,
Yeah, I have less of a problem with infiltration being allowed to compete. I feel like he wasn't arrested, or he wasn't found guilty here. So, of course, I think esports leagues, just like sports leagues, need to take some responsibility for things that their players do in extreme cases. But I feel like he should have been allowed to play Evo, but they definitely should not be. I know he won, and they have to put out something because he did win the tournament, but they should be more aware of what they're doing and the context of the situation, and to be more sensitive regarding things like this, because it's not they didn't handle that part very well. Okay, so there are a few other things. There's like 8 or 9 major topics that happened. We didn't even talk about this one too much, but Smash Brothers broke the record for Evo's viewership for total combined for one game on the directory. Dragon Ball still has the single channel record on Evo on twitch.tv/Evo at 259,000. But Smash with the other with the co-stream or with the co-streams and the other language streams of Evo hit 289,000 this year. So when we were all talking about what would be the main game or what should be the game to close out Evo, it does feel like they made the right choice. I mean, of course, this was Ultimate's launch year. Could it have been higher? Maybe it should have been higher than the peak on the channel that Dragon Ball hit in the previous year. But I still think that Smash did come through how it was supposed to, considering all things, including Nintendo's lack of involvement or support in any monetary way, which we got get there in a second. I think Smash did really, really well for themselves. The finals were really good. He had to come back. Leo had to come back from down 0-2, I believe. It was the grand finals. He was down 0-2, and then he won 5 games in a row to win 3-2. 6 games in a row to win 3-2, 3-0. So it was a sick finals. And everything kind of really went well for Smash. And yes, this is all despite Nintendo still not fucking supporting this game. This game is now going to be the most viewed game in EVO's history, and getting 7th to 8th place won you $300, which is not even enough to fucking spend hotel on the weekend to go to EVO. So you you beat thousands of players. You are competing in a game that is sold like, isn't it the biggest selling game on the Switch or something? Hasn't it surpassed like Zelda and Mario or whatever? Isn't Smash like sold like 20 million copies or some fucking crazy number or something? And it has a huge competitive scene, and it's now the most viewed game at EVO. And even with all that shit, Nintendo can't give them some fucking money. Can't give them a few dollars so the players can actually make a profit, that who practice their entire year to play at this tournament, to win it all, to put it all on the line. They should at least be able to make enough money to take the fucking plane to get to the tournament and to get home. Especially when when EVO is literally in between the $30 million Fortnite World Cup, where a 16-year-old player won $3 million, and the International 9 is in 2 weeks in Shanghai, which is going to be for $33 million. I know prize money is not everything, or really the main component or reason people go to EVO, or where EVO was born from. But EVO is not some small indie ass fucking tournament anymore. It's like it's really like a convention now. It is a tournament, but it's a larger expo type of event. They have money. It's a big deal. So along with Nintendo shitting the fucking bed and not supporting its competitive community of Smash that has been supporting that company for so long, and it has 2 huge Smash games which they could be supporting monetarily. But in addition to that, EVO is not exactly putting into the pot to help out the Smash tournament, which is also the peak part of their event this year. So it is fucking a clown fiesta all around this event for me in this way. I don't buy the EVO we're for the people, it's a community bullshit anymore. And we've been fighting with fucking Mr. Wizard about this stupid nonsense forever, when he used to sell the DVDs. If you wanted to watch it, if you needed to be there, you need to buy the DVDs. They charge early on Ustream if you wanted to watch EVO, and all this stupid fucking nonsense for the community. No, it's about money. It is always about money, and they'd rather not. Either they are incapable of getting a sponsor for a variety of reasons, or they just don't want to shell out more money to actually help the players. And it's probably both of those things combined. So I think it's fucked up for Nintendo to not give Smash money. Nintendo really needs to get on that shit more than anything. And yeah, EVO by now should be able to figure this shit out. If you came 7th or 8th in Tekken, you made $150. That is also on Namco. It is also on Namco for not giving more money, but part of that is on EVO too. It's the biggest tournament. Like, Valve doesn't give ESL $1 million for Counter-Strike. It's ESL figured out a way to sell their league, to make Intel give them money, and they put up the money for Counter-Strike. So if EVO is the biggest fighting game tournament in the world, then it can figure this shit out by now. Anyway, I'm done ranting.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. We've talked about this before. Smash is like, number 1 in viewership, number 1 in entrance, number 1 in all the statistics in the FGC, and yet it's like almost like dead last out of all the main games in terms of prize pool for the players. So it is kind of weird that EVO itself doesn't try and put money into the pot for Smash. I wonder, like, if it's like Nintendo is holding them back type of thing, or if it's like some other internal issue that we are unaware of.
No, if you're
So-
Evo, why do you put in money for Smash? You know that every Smash player is going to come to your tournament anyway. You don't have to give them any money. You have them buy the fucking balls because they even though that like Leffen will talk shit about Evo every single year, he's still gonna go, and they know that everyone is still going to go no matter how much they could fuck them or anyone else in this community, and that is how it's always been. And I think that I'm looking at it really kind of in a cynical way, but I actually don't think it's so far off. They don't need to provide any prize money for people to go until people stop going for other events. And I don't see that ever happening.
I think what it comes down to is a philosophical difference. Maybe we should talk about Nintendo
From
first.
who? From whose perspective?
Well, let's start with Nintendo, right? So, post E3, I'm pretty sure Zori, you were there too. We were at for sure Slasher was there. We were at a dinner that Markman from Evo put together.
oh yeah, I was there.
All right, yeah. So the three of us were at this dinner that Markman put together. There was a lot of people there from all different from the spectrum of people involved in gaming, FGC, esports, etc. One of the people that was there was JC. I forget his official title, but I'm just gonna call him JC from Nintendo.
Mhm.
And Slasher has been on this sort of tirade for quite some time about how Nintendo needs to support the FGC by putting in prize money and all this stuff. And JC was there, and he sort of had a different approach. And do you recall, Slasher, what his reasoning was for Nintendo not providing prize money for events such as Evo?
No, please tell them. It's all you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You see, guys, you see the type of shit I gotta deal with. This guy can do a lot of talking, but not a whole lot of listening. This is why I maintain that it was a philosophical difference. To my
I'm going to let you explain, and then I'm going to respond after.
to my recollection, Nintendo felt like it is best to not be super involved in the competitive scene when it comes to supporting prize pools because they feel like the money should be spent not at like the top of the top, but at sort of like the mid level, which is sort of why when they did their Smash Open or the tournament series that they did sort of like at the beginning of the year, they put up prize money for that. It was sort of like a handful of events that culminated, some of the they did an online series. There was the PAX East stuff, and I think it's sort of culminated in an event that was held in LA. But the way that they saw it was, and again, this is just my recollection. Slasher was there too, so if I remember things differently, or if I remember more or less, or whatever, um, maybe Slasher can fill in the blanks. But what they were saying, what JC was saying, is that Nintendo prefers to fund that sort of like I guess you would call it like semi-pro. So they don't want to. They're not trying to support the top events. They're trying to support their own events to support like the middle of the competitive ecosystem because that has a higher. Their words, not mine. That has like a higher percentage, or it'll reach more of the casual um, crowd, which will then sort of inspire those players to compete on that level so that eventually after that they will be able to compete at the highest level. So essentially their perspective or their approach is to fund like one part of the ecosystem, not the top level ecosystem. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying from my recollection, that was their perspective. And it's not. I don't. I'm not going to say I agree or disagree. I'm only going to say that I'd never considered that before. Um,
Yeah, that's actually really smart.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Zorine's got. It is Zorine's opinion that that's really smart. I'm not. I don't know if that's optimal, but it's certainly.
Why,
I'd
Zorine?
I'd never
I
thought
mean,
about it
I
that
I
way.
like it because if your goal is to try and grow the community, you want. I mean, the top players, they're sorted, right? Like Smash Ultimate, especially when it first came out, was such a huge game on Twitch. Like people were making bank just streaming the game, and like because it has mainstream appeal, that also helps them a lot as well. So the fact that Nintendo was trying to support the mid-level, like to, encourage those players to come out and become like pro level or like boost that skill ceiling there, I feel like was actually like an interesting move. And I'm all for it, to be honest.
Ah, all right.
Okay. No. How about the reason you never think about that is because it's a stupid fucking idea. And the
Well,
reason it's a stupid fucking idea is that if your quote unquote top players can't even support themselves playing the game, it doesn't matter what they do for the middle tier players, because even if those middle tier players aspire to be a professional, there's not enough money to do it in the first place. Hungrybox, who is like the biggest star in Melee, only now was after winning like 15 tournaments in a row or whatever, is able to make enough money that he can quit. I know he had a pretty good engineering job, I believe, um, to like quit his job and go full time. But the amount of Smash players that can play full time across Melee and Ultimate is so low that they're not even providing for the top tier professional players. And it's not like Nintendo is even helping tournament organizers like themselves try to sell sponsorships. And at the same time, they have to realize it's not PC esports. There's no ESL or DreamHack that's able. I mean, DreamHack does Smash, and I actually think they do. DreamHack actually has the most amount of prize money for Smash, I believe, because they're an esports org. It's either DreamHack or it's Beyond the Summit, I think. And they do a pretty good job of giving the esports money for the game. But at a certain point, Nintendo should feel compelled to be able to provide for the players that are putting in the most amount of hours and most amount of work promoting the game the most, and being involved in the scene, to be able to have them be able to play the game full time or even close to full time. If they only help the mid tier, it's still not going to be able to really push things along too well. I mean, just look at the Smash NA Open, which was Nintendo's Smash event that they ran this year. It was pretty fucking garbage, wasn't it? The one with the items where everything was on, and it wasn't even close to what other tournaments were running.
Yes, yes. And if you
So it didn't
remember,
gain.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
It didn't gain traction. Everyone fucking hated it. Did it ended up bringing more people into like what people know as Smash esports? I don't know. Do we have evidence of that? I actually don't really think so. The viewership for those events wasn't even that good. And they hired like, D1 and every single event to like pimp the shit out of it. And Cinepi and all that. I don't even think that did anything. So I am not super convinced at all in how Nintendo has and has not tried to support the scene. It really feels like even a pretty standard approach to supporting esports with not a ton. It doesn't have to be a ton of money, and even then they make so much money off of Smash, it's just really frustrating. It's not like it's a title that's like lounging around, that's not making a lot of money, it's not selling a lot. Did anyone look up how many fucking copies Ultimate has sold?
Clearly, it's
It's
not
like
about
14 million.
It's like
it's
it's
not about
not a problem.
clearly it's
but
not
that
about the money.
but that it is about the money.
No, 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 no.
Nintendo can say,
What I'm saying is that it's not that Nintendo doesn't have the money.
well, yeah, that
So
makes it
it
even
is
worse.
so
It
so
makes
it
it
is
worse that
again
Nintendo has so much money and that they're
again
not giving money out to players. And
again
I know,
that's why I say it's not about the money, it's a philosophical difference.
yeah, and it's fucking stupid. I know what you're saying. I'm explaining that their philosophy is not helping players like get to the airport and rent an apartment and like save money. And like that's the fucking important part here. Players can't make a living playing the fucking game that they love, that the Nintendo should want them to play because they're the biggest stars of the fucking game. They should want them to be taken care of. Yes, the teams should be doing part of that. It is their part of their responsibility to give salaries to their players, and it is on the independent leagues to raise money for esports. But given the certain position that Smash is in, Nintendo, should feel a larger responsibility to provide for their players. This doesn't feel like this is like this is such like a. I'm not a fan of how Nintendo is doing any of this.
Well, that's all fine and good, but I think you touched on it briefly, Rod. Prize money is not the only source of income that top players of any game could, can be making.
But you got to realize that salaries for Smash are also way fucking lower than the top players in League of Legends or Counter-Strike or Overwatch, where minimum salary in Overwatch League is $50,000. The average salary of the NALCS is $300,000. I mean, I bet you there's maybe 4 Smash players that are making 6 figures. I don't even think that's probably true. There's probably 1 or 2. They're probably not making a whole lot of money on salaries. I really highly doubt it.
Okay. I mean, if you want to get into the salary discussion, we can. But what are you saying that
it's not like
the teams should pay a higher salary for Smash players, but they don't?
No, because there's even larger problems. Like other developers like Valve and Blizzard and Riot give revenue options for the teams to make money. Nintendo doesn't even help the organizations either, let alone the fucking players. But the teams can't make additional revenue off of like in-game items or like the creator code or different things that other developers are doing. Nintendo is so behind in terms of like internet and online shit.
Does not exist in other fighting games either.
Yes.
So that's not like a Nintendo specific problem.
Fine, but at least Capcom, for all the shit that I've given them, is putting up like $1 million for the Capcom tour.
Agreed.
You know what?
Agreed.
They are providing for their players. They are. I think Capcom deserves a lot of props for taking care of people that are putting in so many hours in Street Fighter.
Sure, agreed. But there's no reason why the salaries that Smash players get should be lower. I mean, why do you think that they're higher in the other games? Or why do you think that they're higher, let's say, for Street Fighter?
I don't know Street Fighter salaries are higher than Smash, honestly.
So they're...
I don't think they would be. Probably around, yeah.
Okay.
Few exceptions, like Sonic Fox is doing well, but there's not a lot.
Why is it that Sonic Fox can be paid more? Why is it Sonic Fox can be paid more than a Smash player of similar caliber of whatever tournament placings or wins or whatever?
There's only one Sonic Fox. There's like no other examples. And he is so super special in this regard. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is that there are some extrinsic qualities outside of tournament performance that will determine, a player's salary. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but that was always included. That was always going to be included. So social media, streaming, all that shit.
Okay. So then how is Nintendo's involvement in contributing to prize pools a factor when it comes to determining player salaries? Because
Smash is not getting the numbers on Twitch that fucking Fortnite is, and that you, unless your name is Zero, are not able to probably make a full-time living doing streaming either, and nor is YouTube content.
So
you can.
What does that have to do with the prize money?
Do you not feel like that they ultimately have to share some responsibility for the well-being of their players now that
They
we are in an age
they
where
as in
people are
Nintendo?
playing? Yes, they as in Nintendo. Of course, it is on the teams who the players are signed to and the tournaments that the players are playing in, but ultimately they are the publisher and the developer. They are making the game. They own the game. They own the IP. They sell everything. They make the most amount of the money. They do all the deals. They do all the rights. In this day of age, I do not think that you can have like a this type of absolvement. Nintendo is the worst, right there with id Software in terms of like fucking this shit up the most, the
And
most.
and so despite them not supporting, despite them not contributing financially to the prize pool, Smash had the most amount of viewers in history at Evo and also had the most number of entrants. So, from a business perspective, I fail to see
A
how
business
or
perspective,
why
what is a
Nintendo needs
million
to do anything.
dude, what is $1 million going to do for fucking
Nothing.
Nintendo?
Nothing. I'm not.
Literally
I already said.
nothing. It's a write-off.
I
What
already
is
said it's
yes,
clearly not about the money. They have it.
it
They totally
s-
have all the money. They could put up as much money as, they could put up as much money as they wanted. What I'm saying is it's a philosophical difference, and that's why they don't do it. And from a business perspective, they don't need to do it because they are still getting way bigger numbers than all the other games. So it's hard to make a business case for them to do anything.
but it's like saying Nintendo games are so big, they don't need to fix their online services either because everyone plays Nintendo games. There's no reason to ever fix fucking the internet.
Right. You're right. And
Um,
why do you think it doesn't get fixed? You think it's a technical perspective? You think it's a technical problem? That's why the netcode isn't better? Nah.
there is no way that like Nintendo's like, we don't give a shit. We're making money. I don't think it's incompetence either in terms of they do internet. I do think it is like a part of it is it being a Japanese company. I don't think that is helping them.
Yeah.
I think that has been a big problem as we've seen throughout all of the issues, whether it's esports or things happening between Street Fighter or Smash. Smash wasn't able to get streamed for a long time, and that was because of Nintendo Japan. Um,
Yeah. I just I don't disagree that it would be nice if they put up money. What I'm saying is that it's a philosophical difference, and they don't have a business case to do any of that. Because once they start to veer away from that perspective of, let's say, sort of like a hands-off um, point of view, it starts to get really tricky because then it's a question of, oh, well, how much money should we put in? Well, Warner Brothers put in 30 grand, SNK put in 30 grand. Oh, okay, well, maybe we should put 30 grand in too. Now all of a sudden people are up in arms because, oh, Nintendo only put 30 grand in. What the fuck? Like how, what a bunch,
yeah,
how
I'd be one of those people. What the
right,
fuck, Nintendo?
right,
30
right,
grand?
right. Exactly,
Come
exactly,
on.
exactly. And then you could say, all right, well, how much is reasonable? And then maybe they put up a much higher number. But the reality is there is no number that is right in that instance because it's just going to, from their perspective, I believe they think it's just going to cause more harm than good because it opens up a can of worms that they don't want to deal with, and they don't have a business case. There is no business case for them to have to deal with that because it's essentially not going to do anybody any good aside from the people who are actually going to receive the money. And they don't really care. I don't really think it's an issue for them because I think they know that if they don't put up that the players that play if the top 8 players that would receive some of that payout decide not to play, well, there'll probably be 34 or 3,500 other players that will just rise up to get some of that money because these top 8 players decided that they wanted to boycott. They didn't want any part of it. So they don't have a business reason to do it. So they have a philosophical difference of not wanting to get super involved, and also there's no business case for them to do it, and that's why they don't do it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying like that's why.
What do you think, Zorine?
I think Nintendo made Smash as a multiplayer fun game, and they've always stood
Party
by
game.
that. Sakurai even said so himself. And if they suddenly turn around and support esports, then it goes against everything that they've been marketing Smash as this whole time. So it's just like, yeah, it's the philosophical thing as well. Like that is just they don't make Smash to make it an esport. They make Smash because they
Correct.
want people to play the game and to have fun with it.
I do understand that, and I've read a lot of Sakurai interviews around this subject and how he, the thought process behind developing the game. But I gotta say that's with the way and how esports has evolved, that just developers do not have full control. StarCraft Brood War was made to be a campaign game that was really cool, a really cool RTS game. They didn't mean it to be the fucking home sport of Korea to take over the entire nation without any help from Blizzard at all. Korea
And
did
it's still
everything.
and it still
Korea
happened
did
despite the
everything.
lack of Blizzard support.
Okay, fine. Obviously, there is not the support structure here in America like Korea did with fucking Korea Telecoms and the entire PC bang industry, and it being one country that's a small country that's interconnected like here in America, which is widespread. It is not a comparable option in terms of what the community can do. My point to Zorine was, even though Sakurai intended the game to not be a super competitive game, the community felt differently, and that is why Melee exists now. The community played the game not how it was intended, and people have continued to compete in this game and play it not exactly as it was originally in the first place intended. And I think Sakurai still has also realized the more competitive nature in Smash. And I think he actually put a lot of attention in this from 4 to Ultimate, because I think Ultimate most people consider is a lot better than 4 in that way. And I think he recognizes that. And I do feel like, part of it is the community changing the game. It's not always going to be the developer's intentions, and understanding that there does have to be some type of, there should aspire to be a middle ground for people.
Yes, and what you're saying about the community changing the game to the way that they like it, right? So now branching, like thinking about that point specifically, and then thinking about the conversation that me, you, and JC from Nintendo had during that dinner. Now, when we were talking about how they were funding the Smash Open and putting the prize money there, do you recall, you might not have been there, but do you recall when I asked him about the rule set?
No, I didn't hear this.
Okay. Well, remember on this, not this show, but the other show we used to do a long time ago, we talked about how
Yeah.
they were using their own rule set, not the rule set of the Smash, currently accepted competitive Smash rule set of no
Mm-hmm.
items, small stages. Now, I asked him, I said, did you guys set up this rule set the way that you did because that aligns more with the way that you guys want the game to be played? And he said, yeah. He said, yeah, the reason why we set up this tournament structure with the prize money and whatnot and the rules set this way is because it is more in line with the vision that we had for the game originally. And I felt so justified to hear that my thinking was correct. So I'm not saying that this is a surefire fix or anything, but at this point, if this is something that if the Smash community actually wants Nintendo to financially support their tournaments through prize money, my suggestion would be that the Smash community needs to adopt the rule set that Nintendo had when they were the ones giving out the prize money. And that, to me, would be a stronger case. I think that from Nintendo's perspective, they see the current Smash competitive rule set as this sort of like rogue flavor of Smash that they did not intend, nor do they want to support and be a part of, because it is the antithesis of what they had intended for the game, which is, and I know everybody hates it except for me, but it is items and big stages.
And the final Smash.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that one too. That's a good one too. So until that happens, I don't see Nintendo changing their minds. Who knows? Maybe there are some tournament organizers out there that can go to Nintendo and say and pitch them and say, "Hey, we're going to do these Smash tournaments where it's going to be this rule set that you guys use for the Smash Ultimate for the Smash Open. Do you guys want to contribute financially?" And I will laugh hysterically if the first tournaments that end up being financially supported are the ones that adopt that rule set.
I mean, that really would be beautiful. So I'm right there with you. I want that to happen for the lulz.
And it's not going to be, so they're not going to support this 1v1 no items small stages nonsense. They just,
Yeah, man, have top 8 be played out at once. 8 players on the free-for-all stage.
Yes,
Go.
thank you, Zorine.
I
Thank you.
still maintain that the way that competitive Smash is now is by far the least interesting, least entertaining way to watch the game from from an outside spectator's perspective.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh.
I just want to give a shout out to Mike Russ in the chat. He is one of your Ryan must be one of your longtime salty Street Fighter players who is always really upset that Smash is a bigger game than Street Fighter, and so he has to be really mad at me for the entire time. I mean, I get it, man. Your game is not as big. Even Tekken is bigger than your game now. You kind of hate your life. And that really upsets you. So I mean, I understand. You can continue taking your anger out on me. Make sure you like, subscribe, and donate too. That's kind of all that you're here for. That's really your entire purpose. So if you could do that, that would make me feel really good.
Wait, is that the Mike Ross?
No.
That's awesome.
No.
Oh no, Mike Ross.
Mike Russ.
Like Mike Ross. Yes, the Twitter account, the legend, Mike Ross.
All right. Anyways, is that debate settled? Can you?
Yes, that was good. That was good.
Okay.
That was solid. So now we have done it. We've gone 2 hours.
All right.
But I do have one more topic.
Oh yeah, the blow up, right?
Nope, there was one more before that, which we didn't even think about, but I think it's important.
Sure.
At the beginning of Evo, there was an announcement, and the official announcement is that it's something that has been kind of somewhat secretly known for like a long time now. Ever since Radiant Entertainment was bought by Riot Games. Riot is officially.
I thought this was. I can't believe it, people. I was like, oh, I thought this was a known thing, not a new announcement.
Where is the link? Where is the link?
It's on my Twitter. I'll try to find it. No, but Tom and Tony Cannon, obviously they were making Rising Thunder, and their company got bought, but they have been radio silent ever since then. Riot never officially said they were making a fighting game. They never said what they were making at Riot, and nothing was ever officially mentioned. So this is the first time that Tom and Tony Cannon have done this.
Seth Killian confirmed that also he is no longer at Riot Games. He's in fact working at Epic Games.
Yeah, did you hear that?
I sure did.
Well, I mean, I was actually the one that reported on it. So now that is why you've heard that. So after they made the announcement of Tom and Tony Cannon saying that they would, Tony Cannon making the announcement that Riot was officially making a game, I made a congratulations post talking about how Tom and Tony were doing this game, and Seth was working with them to create it. And Seth had been at Riot for the last 2.5 years, working with Tom and Tony on Rising Thunder. But then shortly after I made that tweet, I got several messages from sources telling me that he had been no longer at Riot Games for the last few months. So I emailed Riot, and they confirmed that Seth is no longer at Riot Games. And my sources tell me he is now at Epic, and he is working for Epic. And the last few months, he has even been talking to Fortnite players about their concerns with the competitive game. So all those times I've been complaining about how Epic is treating the competitive game, it might be fucking Seth Killian to come to the goddamn rescue. Now, nothing has been made public by him. His LinkedIn still says that he works for Riot Games, but Riot Games confirmed to me that he has been no longer at the company for at least 4 to 5 months. And several sources tell me he is at Epic. He was at the Fortnite World Cup, now that I think about it. And Seth was walking around with Epic people at Evo. So I have no idea what happened or why he left Riot or why he's not working on Riot's fighting game. I have no indication that Epic is making a fighting game right now, but obviously it would make some sense, or maybe position themselves to acquire a fighting game like they did Rocket League. But I still think in general it's a huge news that Riot is officially making a fighting game. It's their first game outside of League or TFT, Team Fight Tactics, but they consider TFT under League of Legends. So I still think that this fighting game is going to be their newest game. We don't know what the fighting game is. We don't know if it's going to be League of Legends, the fighting game. It could very well be League of Legends, the fucking fighting game. Or it could be a totally new genre. It could be Rising Thunder 2. I don't think it's going to be Rising Thunder 2, honestly. But I think anything is possible at this stage. And that is like a great thing for the fighting game industry, because the main quote that he said while he was up there making the announcement was that we always felt like fighting games should be bigger than they are now, and we want them to get there. So that's why we're doing this. So definitely one of the major priorities of them creating this game is to expand the audience of fighting games and get more people playing fighting games. So I am very excited to see what Tom and Tony are going to do. Even though Seth is no longer there, I'm still pretty confident in those guys.
I'm hella excited.
Okay.
And like,
one sec. Slasher, turn your camera off and then turn it back on real quick.
all right, while he's doing that, I'm just gonna jump in and like say I'm so excited for Riot Games to get in on this, because if there's anyone who could change, like this could change the entire FGC, right? If Riot Games came in and brought like a similar model to what they do to LCS, they have so much experience running esports, building esports programs from the ground up. They have hired all the right people from the FGC to, tackle the FGC in a proper way. And also like in an authentic way, which is the most important. And they've clearly been working on this thing for quite some time now. So the fact that Riot Games who can come in and, do something in the FGC, I feel like that's very exciting to me. And, hey, it's about time we had like someone come in and like change the landscape and shake things up a bit.
All right. I don't know.
What happened?
I think Slasher is just gone. Maybe he'll hop back in. I'm not really sure. Oh, there we go. Well, at least I blurred us. Anyways.
Oh my god! Thank God.
Okay. I don't know if he's coming back.
He's gone. This is it.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. So I got wind of this news when I was on the XSplit evolution of streaming in the FGC panel with Maximilian and Team Spooky, and I was talking specifically about how I thought that there was going to be a big disruptor. And this is not something new. Anybody who was following the old show might remember multiple conversations of me talking about how I thought that. Oh, there he is. Hold on. Oh, there he is. Can you hear us, Rod?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
Okay.
weird.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I didn't touch anything. Skype NDI just fucking craps out whenever it wants to. Anyways, what I was saying, Rod, is that I got wind of this when I was on the evolution of streaming in the FGC panel with Maximilian and Spooky, and we have talked multiple times about how I thought that there was going to be some sort of major disruptor that came into the space that fucked everybody's shit up, and I thought it was going to be some combination of Riot, Blizzard, and Valve. And then I believe it was the show where I think it was the one that we did in person around E3, but it might have been one before where we were talking about the Unreal Engine
Yeah.
website, and I mentioned that there were two fighting games on top. It was MK11 and then Street Fighter 5, and I said, wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be funny if it wasn't one of the big three that came in and made a fighting game? What if it was actually Epic that came in that turned the FGC on its head? And now we have confirmation. And for the record, Slasher, I hope this wasn't news to you because I've known for weeks that Seth was at Epic Games. So I hope you wouldn't consider this some sort of hot take, or I hope you wouldn't consider this some sort of scoop because
Well, it
one of the
hasn't been
three of
public.
us, I know.
Yes.
Well, it's
Yes.
still
It
not
hasn't been
public. If
public.
it's not on LinkedIn, it's not public, right?
Ha. Yeah. Well, you know what? I wasn't told in confidence or anything. I am just reporting it because that is a story.
Well,
So now it's public. Well, shit. I hit up Seth.
and what
You
did he
didn't get
say?
back to me. You didn't
Oh.
get back to me.
Ah, ah. Well, anyways, I knew what was going on, and that only added fuel to the fire. And I was informed of the riot announcement, of which do you have the link? Well, I still haven't seen any sort of like official announcement. I was just told during the panel that that was finally confirmed after I don't know how many years it's been, 3, 4 years since they bought Radiant, and after how long they sat on the whole project and nothing, or seemingly sat. I mean, we don't even really know. I mean, this somebody could be playing the Riot fighting game right now. In fact, probably there are multiple people playing it or testing it or working on it. But either way, that's when I found out about it. And
Okay, I
it's
sent you the link for the video.
oh, there's a video.
Well,
Yeah. Oh. Oop, oop,
Did
oop.
he hang
Oop.
up by accident?
Sorry. We're back.
You okay? You
Sorry.
okay right there?
Happened?
Sorry.
Did
Sorry.
you just
No, I
did you just
I
fucking
clicked.
did you just PogChamp everywhere over your pants?
I clicked.
You
I just-
PogChamped all over your pants, did you?
I just clicked the wrong button. Sorry, guys. Itchy trigger finger. All right, hold on. Let me pull this up, and then hold on. Let me just.
So we're
Breaking.
now in the timeline where Riot and Epic could both have fighting games. Riot
We were on that timeline. We were on that timeline as soon as I noticed. As soon as I noticed what was on top of the Unreal Engine website. Okay, Rod. Check the tapes. Check the other show. I called it.
Someone go clip it. Find the clip.
I actually thought Riot Games might have announced something last year at EVO because they had a whole bunch of staff out at the event last year.
Okay. Can we just?
I will say. Wait. Show. You can show the clip. No?
Yeah. I can show it, but I
Okay.
don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear it. Hold on. Have
I
you
mean, I
seen
think
it,
most
Zorine?
people have seen it.
Have you seen
but,
it, Zorine?
I have, but I
Okay.
didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. I'm just going to switch here, and then we're gonna play this. Breaking: Evo founder and Riot employee Tom Cannon has confirmed the worst kept secret in gaming. Riot is officially working on a fighting game, the first game outside of League of Legends for Riot. Whoop, fuck. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything. Maybe the stream is. Oh.
And I want to be able to let people in on maybe like the worst kept secret in the universe, which is I can confirm that we are working on a fighting game for Riot. Whoa, Steve, this is Riot 2, Electric Boogaloo. So hold on. So the reason why we did Rise and Thunder in the first place was because we felt like fighting games just deserve to be enjoyed by way more people. Like, as big as things are, we think it has the potential to get bigger, right? So
And then he talks a little bit more, but that was just it.
Well,
Beautiful.
that's amazing because now finally, after all these years, everybody gets the official confirmation of what we had suspected from the get-go, and that's great news. The real, so this is news. This is great news to officially be able to talk about it and announce it and whatever. That's great. And I think that this is something that only the True Hollywood story, the whatever that episode would be about this particular chapter in FGC history, is what exactly happened that caused Seth Killian to leave this project that he had been personally invested in for years and years, probably longer than we could have ever imagined, and go to Epic. And that, to me, is the real story. We all knew or suspected that the Riot fighting game was coming because you didn't have to be the world's #1 esports consultant to see that coming. But Seth going to Epic, and if what you're saying is true, Slash, about how he's been talking to players and whatnot, that to me says a lot, and that's the real thing that I think is this is the real story now, because we all knew. And here's the thing, I have no doubt that the game that Radiant Entertainment has been working on for years, I have no doubt it's dope or will be dope or whatever, because what they did with Rising Thunder literally had the potential to change the game, and that's why they got bought. But now it's not just about Riot and Valve and Blizzard. Now Epic is in the mix, and I have no inside information. I saw Seth this weekend. I didn't even bring it up. I didn't even think about it. But now things are about to get really interesting, because if they are in fact working on a fighting game, Seth probably has a lot of the same experience, knowledge, and data that Radiant does. And in addition to whatever's been happening at Radiant or Riot for the past several years, Seth also has all of the experience with community management development, and as well as the game development side, because he was heavily involved in the production of Street Fighter 4. And for those that aren't aware, Seth Killian is, really the three of them, right? Seth and the Cannon brothers have written so much about fighting games, both, like from a strategic level. And were it not for those writings, me personally, I probably wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't even be here now with you guys in this moment. That's the type of impact that those guys' work have had on me. And it it could get very interesting very quickly. And the people that stand to benefit the most really is the community, the players, and the people who don't even know that they'll be playing this fighting game or fighting games in in the future. However, and the same thing that I said on the panel is that all of the existing fighting game publishers, developers, or whatever, those are the ones that should be those are the people that should be concerned, because with the level of experience that now that the Cannon Brothers have, that Radiant Entertainment has, as well as potentially the level of experience that Seth has, and now going to Epic Games. Holy moly, if I were any of the existing publishers, I would be very, very, very concerned because these guys could easily come in and take everybody's lunch money.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Except if you're Tekken, because Tekken's dope.
I'm pretty sure that sentiment, I'm pretty sure people in all of those companies had a meeting Monday morning, and I'm pretty sure that was the takeaway. Yeah, all those guys should be worried, but not us. We're insert game here. And that is the type of arrogance or short-sightedness that allows disruptors in any space to come in and you know turn things on its head.
I mean, I will say, maybe to play devil's advocate, just like you have, on two things. One, Seth may have just been offered so much fucking money from Epic that that's possible that could happen, and that's why he left Riot. Maybe it wasn't a philosophical difference over the game. I am very interested to see why though he left. If there was a larger reason over not wanting to do the game with the Cannon Brothers, maybe they clashed on design ideas, or maybe he just got offered so much money by Epic that it was a no-brainer for him to switch over. Just like Ninja going from Twitch to Mixer, at a certain point, the money outweighs the rest of the passion.
Maybe. Who knows?
The rest of the passion that's going on.
Who knows? That's where the real. That's the real story.
So to play devil's advocate, even though really all the companies you named are the ones to take the current devs in the FGC and all their money, I gotta say they're all American companies. The best fighting games are still pretty much Japanese studios and Japanese companies, and that's a big part of the history of fighting games. And maybe a bunch of American studios aren't going to be able to create the same type of feeling that all the legendary Japanese games have. And I think maybe that might be a hindrance. I still think generally they have so much money, they could always hire a full Japanese team to make the game. But I do think it will be a little bit different with all these American studios.
There's nothing inherent that makes a Japanese developer.
Gootecks, you have mod in your chat.
Oh,
Mister,
yeah.
You run the chat, right?
All right, yeah. All right, here, check this out. How do we even do this, dude? Honestly, I don't even.
Yo, mod me, bro.
There we go.
No, ban. Come on, give me mod right now. Why do I not have mod? Dude, give me admin. What is going on? Where are your mods?
You already are a mod.
Oh, what the fuck? No, I can't time out. I can't ban.
Now's your.
Please
I can't
hold
time out or ban.
while we deal with these technical issues in the chat.
You're definitely listed as moderator. Both of you are.
Can you time out or ban?
Just tell me how to do it. How do I do it?
No,
how
I
do we just make it? How do we just make it?
No, now I can. No, it just All right. Now, okay. Now you can unmod your chat. Jesus Christ! If any of you stupid motherfuckers do that again, I am going to ban all of you stupid assholes. But now you can remove sub mode on.
I think it's not even on sub mode. It's on followers.
Yeah.
Mode, so, anyways,
I think it's fine. Anyways, the point is, there's nothing that inherently makes Japanese developers better at making fighting games than any other publisher. That's just the way that it's been, but that's not necessarily the way that it will be in the future. So this could be the start of a dawn of a new era, and I can't wait to see what happens. I don't care whether it's Riot or Blizzard or Valve or Epic. I can't wait for one of these guys to come in and disrupt the whole thing because it's sorely needed. And I just hope that I personally can be in position to make the best of it, because I think everybody here would agree that the if you remove the barriers of fighting games, things like needing to pay money for it, needing specialized hardware like a console or a stick or whatever. If you remove those things and then you add competent, if you add like really strong net play, of which, Tom and Tony Cannon developed the GGPO netcode framework that has been developed, honed, and refined for years. With those three elements, taken care of, there would be a ginormous explosion in the overall player base of fighting games. So
I mean, you are forgetting two main things here. One, free to play.
I just said if you remove needing to play money, you needing to pay money. That was the first thing I said.
What about netcode? Did you mention that one?
Bro, are you even fucking listening? Jesus Christ. All right, guys, this is a great show. This was a great show. Slasher's going to go back and watch the VODs. God damn it. The world's #1 esports consultant, everybody.
I zoned out on this whole fucking...
Hit him up for all of your esports needs, because this guy clearly knows how to listen and knows what the fuck he's talking
why
about.
did you even open your mouth if you didn't hear what he said?
I read chat. I was reading chat and kind of listening to gootecks.
Whoever can... All right, Slasher, do I have your attention now? Let me know when you're ready. Jesus Christ. It's amazing. Okay. It's fucking incredible. All right.
Good.
Whoever can
This is my life.
Whoever can address these three issues when it comes to fighting games is going to either win or at bare minimum change the game. Number 1, free to play, the removal of needing to pay money to play. Number 2, addressing the concerns of quote unquote needing specialized hardware, meaning no need to use a fight stick, no need to play on hitbox, being able to play on keyboard or whatever the fuck you got. And number 3, addressing netcode, such as what the GGPO protocol has been doing and what it's been doing for years, and it's been refined and improved over years. Whoever can address those 3 will change the landscape of fighting games forever.
Okay, now that I've actually been paying attention to what you said, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Mr. Gootecks. Riot is also known for dumbing down its games. If you compare Dota to what League of Legends is,
Sure.
it definitely has made the game more mainstream, but for a lot of people that come from Dota, League of Legends is a scrub-ass bitch version of what is the more manly game, which is Dota.
Sure.
So now, what if Riot's game, you just have to hit a button for a Hadouken?
Yeah. Well,
you
have
no
you played
longer,
Rising
you no
Thunder?
longer.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if you haven't played
So
Rising...
so what do you think about simplified mechanics so that execution is either no longer a big part or maybe even removed entirely from gameplay, and that makes it easier? Is that good or bad?
It depends on your perspective. If what you enjoy about fighting games is sitting and practicing muscle memory and doing big fancy combos that require hours and hours and hours of practice, of course that's a bad thing. If you are talking about how to broaden the player base and get more people to try it and have fun with it, and your concern is getting removing the barriers to entry, one of which is execution, then no, it's a good thing. It just depends on your perspective. So, is it likely that Riot will introduce one button specials? Yeah, probably. I don't know. In Rising Thunder, you have one button specials that don't require execution. They have cooldown. Is that a good thing? It depends on your perspective.
Is that the future, Ryan? What do you feel about cooldown based fighting games? Do you feel like that is a solid approach?
Again,
do you care? Does it matter?
It depends on your perspective. Is practicing as someone who's been playing fighting games for let's say 25 years, do I think that I should have to sit and practice super hard execution heavy combos all day every day in order to compete at the highest level? No, I don't. But that's just me. So it just depends on your perspective. If your mission is to broaden the appeal and get more people playing, then of course the execution has to be simplified. Will that end up being, cooldown based attacks or specials or whatever? Maybe, maybe not. Is that a good or bad thing? I don't fucking know. I haven't played it. But that's why I say it just comes down to your perspective and your goals.
And cooldown based stuff, I mean, that's just an alternative to building a super bar. Like you can't spam supers anyway. And more to the point that you brought up where Riot dumbed down Dota to create League of Legends, the game still required a very high amount of skill to master, right? So it's not like anyone can just become a pro at League of Legends. And I imagine the same thing would happen to whatever fighting game that they release. It's not going to be random. It's going to be skill-based, and you're going to have to practice and play, even if they remove the barrier of entry to some certain mechanics.
Yeah, actually, imagine Obama points out Granblue already does this. Ooh, yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, we didn't get as much time with Granblue at our booth as was originally intended, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But I do know that they are not. The trend is not towards more fighting games requiring more and more execution. That's just not the way that things are going.
Hey, can you get me a Granblue code, by the way? I really want to play that game.
I can't get myself a Granblue code, unfortunately. But next time I get one, I'll give it to you. How about that?
Yeah.
So yeah. There we go. All right.
Let's
All right,
talk
guys.
about the blow up of the week.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, are we finishing? Oh.
Up to you.
Should we address the blow up of the week? I think it was pretty spicy.
That's the only. That's the only asset of this show that I don't have.
Wait, what do you mean? I just
Wah,
linked
wah, wah.
No. I mean like the actual
Oh,
blow
the
up,
asset,
the actual asset.
the image, the image.
Oh no, that's the live stream. Oh wait, yeah, you're right. Okay,
That's okay.
never mind.
I mean, we can.
Do you want me to
We could
post
do
that?
that anyway. Oh yeah. We mentioned it earlier. We have to fucking show the blow up of the week. I mean, it's the star of the show so far.
Um, hmm. Yeah, I don't see it in here, and I also don't know.
Wait, it's in Skype. The video is in Skype. The asset, I don't know.
Do you want me to send it on Discord too?
Okay, 1 second. All right. If we do the blow up of the week, I promise you we're gonna keep talking about it. I'm okay.
Nah,
I don't
it's
give a
awesome. No, we shouldn't know. I mean, I actually don't know what the fuck it happened. So, if you want to,
Up to you, Zorine. I'm not the one with shit to do in the morning.
Oh, yeah, no, that's. I mean, if you guys can't even watch it, then let's just
No. We
address
can
it
watch
next
it.
week.
No. We can watch it. I'm just saying, like, I think to be fair, it requires some context and explanation. That's all.
Oh, well, we'll just talk about it for 5 minutes. We're
All right.
good.
All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me just pull it up, and then we can. All right. How should I do this? Should I play the video and then read it, or should I just?
Just play the video.
Okay. Here we go. All right.
Damn.
All right. Who wants to explain context and what was going on?
I don't know what the fuck was going on. You explain context.
It was kind of hard to hear the audio, to be honest. But it sounded like Porkchop was trying to make bets in the audience, and he got told off by an individual who seemed to be, or at least look a lot like Mr. Wiz. And then this person told him to be quiet or he would be ejected from the venue. Is that right? Does it sound about right?
Yeah, my understanding is that Pokechop, who is a Tekken player that has been around for quite some time, is notorious for being quite loud. Uh, it sounded like to me, maybe you couldn't hear it too much because of my shitty production, but it sounded like he was up in the stands at Evo in grand finals in the Mandalay Bay Event Center, calling around asking for side bets. It was being really loud. Now, for context, side bets, to my knowledge, between people, like if Zorine, me and you are at the finals and I'm like, hey, Zorine, I got $5 on, Bonchan winning. And you say, all right, I'll take that bet. $5 it is. To my knowledge, that's illegal, especially illegal, probably within the confines of, you know, Mandalay Bay, which is an MGM Resorts property, which has, a gaming license. They do these types of things legally above board because it's a big hotel and casino in Las Vegas that does this, on a massive scale. So to my knowledge, side bets like that are illegal. And so for anybody to be up yelling, calling for side bets in this situation, in the venue like that, especially, let's say, one row down from the Evo suite, to my knowledge, that is illegal, is number one, illegal, and number two, a bad look for Evo and could, theoretically result in some sort of, I don't know, fines or punishment or some kind, either from, I don't know, the Las Vegas Gaming Commission, or it could, result in some sort of action taken against Mandalay Bay or MGM Resorts by the Gaming Commission, or it could result in some sort of action taken by MGM Resorts to Evo. That is my understanding, my limited understanding of the situation.
Okay. Slasher, you're nodding. Does that mean you agree?
I don't know. Sounds great. I don't know anything about this.
I think the problem here, though, it seems like Porkchop wasn't unhappy because of that, but more that Mr. Wiz told him to sit down and shut up, or he would be ejected from Evo in what was perceived as a rude way, or like he was spoken to in a rude way.
I can see
well,
that.
I mean, if Ryan is right and he is making illegal, I mean, I know side betting is part of like FGC history, but shit is not in the middle of some random ass fucking convention ballroom now.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of the Mandalay Bay Arena, so maybe in that context, it's.
I mean, I think it's one of those situations where, because he was being so loud about what he was doing, it seemed like Mr. Wizard had no choice but to take action and tell him, to stop. I don't know, I don't know.
Like here in New York, if you smoke weed, and probably nothing's gonna happen. If you go here in New York and then you see a cop and you go smoke weed right in front of him,
right? What's the cop?
Yeah, he's probably gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't." I'm gonna arrest you if you do that, because you're not supposed to do things that you're not supposed to in the open and boast about it. If you're gonna do it, at least be discreet about what you're doing. I feel like that's the same concept here.
Yeah, I mean, if Porkchop hadn't been so loud about everything, I mean, maybe it was about the side bets, maybe it wasn't. I don't really know. But when I watched it the first time, that was the impression that I got, that he was loudly soliciting side bets. So I don't really see what choice, I mean, and it was one row down from the Evo box suite. So I don't really see what else what else what else Mr. Wizard or anybody else from Evo staff could have done, because I mean,
oh god damn it, I'm agreeing with Mr. Wizard. We have to end the show.
I mean,
I
Here's the
feel
thing.
like
What are
this
you
is
gonna
not how
what are you
I
gonna do?
want to
You
go.
want to put your entire event and future events at stake because one dude is being super loud trying to get side bets? Like that doesn't sound like a smart business decision to me. Now, could he have handled it differently? Maybe, but it's like what you know, people sometimes people will only give back the energy that is given to them. So the energy was very loud. I mean, what would have been I mean, maybe somebody could have, tapped poke chopped lightly on the shoulder and calmly asked him to not do that. Maybe that's a possibility for sure. But um I really don't see what else could have been done in that situation in having to act very swiftly and appropriately. I mean, what he did was, in my opinion, the smart thing to do, which was shut it down as quickly and efficiently as possible. Now, and I'm not sure that everybody that's all up in arms about this understands the full context of the situation and understands like what the real long-term implications of that continuing are, you know? So I don't I don't think I don't think that if Pokechop hadn't been soliciting side bets that Wizard would have that anybody would have cared. I just don't see that as something that people care about.
Agreed. I'm fucking done.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's wrap. Thanks, everyone.
PogChamps in chat. What a great fucking first episode of the official Esports Show.
That's right. Great show,
I think
guys.
Yeah.
Episode number 1 of the official Esports Show is in the can. All right, guys. Slasher, where do people go for for more of the world's #1 esports consultant?
Well, usually I just say you'll find me on the internet, but you can now find me on Fox News TV, your local
Regularly?
TV station, at least once a week. Some person on television will be talking some stupid nonsense about video games, and then you will be seeing me tell everyone why that's stupid, and then everyone will applaud me as a genius. It's worked out pretty well for the last 2 weeks. I'm gonna continue to fight the good fight for video games. Video games are an oppressed people. People that play video games are oppressed people, as we all know. I'm going to fight for all the rights of the gamers out there.
All right, thank you,
Keep on
Slasher,
fighting.
for infiltrating the opposition.
I would like it if you didn't use that word. I don't want to infiltrate as a verb has taken on a whole new meaning now, and
God.
I feel like that should stay away from that one a little bit.
Let me know how you want me to phrase it for you.
Well, I don't want to Noel Brown anybody either, so we could just try to shift to the side.
All right, Zorine, where do people go for more Zorine?
I'll be playing Tekken and trying to find a Grand Blue key. I'm just Zorine, as you can see here. Yep, here on Twitter, Team Zorine on Instagram, and Team Zorine on Twitch.
All right. And yeah, you can follow me, gootecks, on Twitter, Instagram. We'll have a lot of the stuff that we at Cross Counter did during Evo week up on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, including the finals, excuse me, the panels, the Evo panels, bar fights, stuff that happened at the matchup. Find it. Follow us on Twitter at CrossCounterTV. Thank you so much for watching the very first episode of the official Esports Show, the official show of esports. My name is gootecks, and we will see you guys later. Bye!